welcome back with your next class. In today's class we are going to discuss further very important aspects regarding biodiversity. So today we are going to start with the importance of species diversity to the ecosystem. Alright. Now see, the number of species in a community really matter to the functioning of the ecosystem because rich biodiversity is important for stability, productivity and health of the ecosystem. How we'll be discussing under these topics. First, we are going to discuss ecosystem stability, how rich biodiversity is responsible for creating a stable ecosystem. Alright, so see, ecologists consider that communities with more species tend to be more stable. How? See, first, a stable community should not show too much variation in productivity from year to year. Next, it must be resistant and resilient to occasional natural as well as man-made disturbances, and it must be resistant to invasion by alien species. Alright. Now, David Tillerman's long-term ecosystem experiment using outdoor plots confirms this, as he found that he did an experiment using two plots. In both the plots, he would maintain two different levels of biodiversity. In one of the plot, he maintained a high biodiversity. In the other one, he maintained a less biodiversity. So being the sunlight falling on both the plots equally, if he checked or when he checked the productivity of these plots year after year, he easily could identify that the plot with higher biodiversity would show much more stability and much more productivity, stable productivity year after year. On the contrary, the one with lesser biodiversity was less productive. Alright, so see here, David Tillerman's long-term ecosystem experiment using outdoor plots confirms this, as he found, first, plots with more species showed less year-to-year variation in the total biomass, and also increased biodiversity contributed to higher productivity. Alright, so it has been proved by David Tillerman that by his long-term plots experiment that yes, whenever in a particular area biodiversity is higher, due to stability, it brings about stability to the ecosystem that would also keep up with the productivity of the ecosystem. So it is very much well proven that biodiversity brings stability to the ecosystem. Alright, now next one is ecosystem health. Whether an ecosystem is healthier when there is more of biodiversity present in it or not, that has also been explained by another ecologist, Paul Ehrlich. Alright, see here, the effect of reduction in biodiversity has been explained by Paul Ehrlich through his very famous Rivet-Popper hypothesis. Now, what is Rivet-Popper hypothesis? See here, it is just an imagination. Say, in an airplane here suppose is the ecosystem. All parts are joined together by thousands of rivets, where the rivets are taken to be species. Now, suppose the passengers who are traveling by that airplane, they now start taking up one rivets, that means one species to take home with them. Okay, that means if every of the passenger keeps on making one species go extinct, initially maybe the ecosystem will not show any disturbance. Okay, it will show as if it is going on properly. There is no much of a difference can be seen initially. But eventually, as one after another, the rivets would be popped or it would be taken from the airplane. What do you think will happen? The airplane will keep becoming weaker and weaker, and eventually it will not be able to keep up with the flight and it would crash, isn't it? So likewise, if one after another the species will keep on becoming extinct from the ecosystem due to man-made or natural disturbances, be it whatever the disturbance, eventually the ecosystem would also crash, and in no time the ecosystem would also become extinct. It would no more be present. Okay, that's what is called Rivet-Popper hypothesis. In short, according to Rivet-Popper hypothesis, suppose our ecosystem is an airplane and all the parts of the airplane are being joined together by rivets, where the rivets are the species. if one or two rivets go missing, that means one or two species go missing, we might not be able to feel any difference initially, but eventually if this continues, then eventually in the long run, the airplane will undergo a crash. It will no more be able to maintain its flight. Similarly, the ecosystem will also become weak, it will become unhealthy, and eventually it will also crash. It would also become non-existent. Understood this? Fine. So see here, if each passenger traveling starts popping a rivet that is causing a species to go extinct, it may not affect the flight safety, that means proper functioning of the ecosystem initially. But as more and more rivets are removed, the plane becomes weak over a period of time and then crashes. That is leading to the loss of the ecosystem. Fine. Thus, biodiversity is very important for ecosystem health as well. So now that you know what are the importance of species diversity to the ecosystem, next let us discuss a very important part, that what are the reasons behind loss of biodiversity, why loss of biodiversity has been happening continuously, and how we can be saving that. Okay, how we can be saving that from happening. All right, let's see that. Now let us discuss the loss of biodiversity. Okay, see, there are three types of extinctions leading to loss of biodiversity. First is natural extinction. Now, natural extinction is a very slow process and it does not harm the ecosystem to a large extent. See, with the change of the environment, some species would disappear and the others would take its place, isn't it? So here, if one of the species is becoming extinct, the other one is anyways replacing it. So in that case, it is not going to cause instability of the ecosystem. Alright? It occurs at a very, very slow rate and is never drastic. Fine? Now, next one is mass extinction. Now, mass extinction is something that is opposite to natural extinction. It's very rapid and very drastic in nature. See, it is the dying off or extermination of a large number of species due to catastrophic events. Catastrophic events are certain kind of events which are very detrimental in nature. It has been recorded that as many as 5 mass extinctions have occurred on Earth ever since life have originated. Say life have originated on Earth, say 3 billion years ago. Since then till today, 5 mass extinctions have been recorded. And whenever a mass extinction occurs, as much as 75% of all species on Earth have been eliminated or have been drastically vanished or disappeared. Alright, so the Earth would be left out with only 20 to 25% of the total species, and hence the speciation again has to begin from the very, almost from zero. It has to start again from zero, and very new type of species can start appearing on Earth then. Fine, like the dinosaurs. They have also been very powerful as species that have been seen on Earth ever since life originated. But then, due to some mass extinction or catastrophic events itself, the dinosaurs also had to become extinct, and eventually other new species have started to dominate Earth. Alright. So, as many as 5 mass extinctions have been observed on Earth till today. Okay. So, it is the dying off or extermination of a large number of species due to catastrophic events. Since the origin and diversification of life on Earth, there were 5 mass extinctions recorded so far. Alright. Now, third one is the most dangerous one, that is anthropogenic extinction, also known as man-made extinction. Alright. It is caused directly or indirectly by human activities like habitat destruction, overexploitation, hunting, pollution, etc. Alright. So basically anthropogenic extinction is also referred as the 6th mass extinction that's going on, and due to this man-made activities or certain man-made activities, very rapidly 100 to 1000 times rapidly mass extinction has been occurring continuously. Alright. So see here, there are a few important examples for you to remember in this aspect. First, Colonization of tropical Pacific islands by humans has resulted in extinction of more than 2,000 species of native birds. Next, IUCN Red List 2004 documents the extinction of 784 species in the last 500 years. These numbers are very important for you to remember. It includes 338 vertebrates, 359 invertebrates and 87 plants. And if we go into some important examples as such, they would be the dodo from Mauritius, quagga of Africa, thylacine Australia, Steller sea cow Russia, and 3 subspecies Bali, Javan and Caspian of tiger. Examples of as such are very important. It has been asked many a times in the entrance exam as well. So from entrance exams point of view as well, these examples are very important. Alright. So basically, in short, if we have to calculate the amount of extinctions that have been happening due to anthropogenic or human activities, that would be in the last 20 years, 27 species have become extinct. So that's huge, isn't it? So we don't know anything as such if suppose a species is being added to the Earth's species treasury or not, but then we are of course causing a lot of huge damage to the already available species to us. So whether we are allowing speciation to occur or not, that's a question mark. But then whatever species are available are at a very high risk of extinction, are at a risk of extinction, so that they would never be seen again on Earth. Alright. Now, extinction across taxa are not random. Like few of the taxonomic categories are much more at a risk than the other in terms of extinction. See, for example, amphibians are more vulnerable to extinction. Presently, some 15,500 species worldwide are facing risk of extinction. They include 12% of all birds, 23% of all mammals, 31% of all gymnosperms and 32% of all amphibians. Out of all the categories, amphibians are at the highest risk of extinction. Alright. Next, anthropogenic extinction is also referred as sixth mass extinction. Do remember that. 5 mass extinctions have been already recorded on Earth so far, but then man-made extinction, whatever extinctions have been happening today due to man-made activities, they can be referred as the sixth mass extinction. Alright. It is 100 to 1000 times more rapid than the natural extinction. Alright. And it is also being suggested that if such kind of a rate of extinction would keep happening continuously, then within 100 years, half of the all species present on Earth today would be very soon gone. Okay. Now, next, results of loss of biodiversity. There are mainly 3 reasons we can document here, that is decline in plant productivity, reduced resistance to environmental perturbations like droughts, and increased variability of ecosystem processes. Alright, so this part is very important, especially the examples that I have told you about, like dodo from Mauritius, quagga Africa, thylacine Australia, etc. All of this part is very important for your exam. Alright, next let us move on to causes of biodiversity loss. So now let us discuss the causes for biodiversity loss. Alright, so see, there are majorly 4 causes of biodiversity loss and are to get referred as the evil quadrants. Okay, sometimes in the exam the question can be asked in a manner that explain the evil quadrants, okay, in details. So likewise, evil quadrant means the 4 basic reasons why they are the causes for biodiversity loss. Alright. So first would be habitat loss and fragmentation. The habitat of plant and animal, mostly the forest, they are being cut down continuously due to man-made activities, isn't it? So due to that, the animals or the plants, they are losing their habitat. habitat, and hence they are being forced to die or forced to change their biotic interaction with other species. That is very much detrimentally affecting them. Okay, so see here, it is the most important cause. Out of 4 causes that we are going to discuss, this is the most important one that would lead to highest number of biodiversity loss. See, when people cut down forests, the habitat of a species is lost or changed. This forces many organisms, be it plants or animals or even microbes, to die or disrupt their complex interactions. For example, tropical rainforest, which once occupied 14% of Earth's land area, today only occupies 6% of it. And by the time we end reading this chapter, maybe thousands more hectares of land under the forest cover would be lost. Alright? Next, pollution. Pollution is another very important factor leading to biodiversity loss. Pollution also threatens the survival of many species. For example, pesticide-linked decline of fish-eating birds and falcons. Lead poisoning is also a major reason for mortality of doves, swans, and cranes. Alright? Third, large habitats when broken into small fragments. Suppose in between the forest you are trying to build a road so that you are trying to increase connectivity between 2 cities. That way you are fragmentizing a large habitat. Now many animals which requires a large territory for survival, they will be mostly or majorly affected by this. So large habitats when broken into small fragments for human activities like settlements, building roads, etc. also would cause to or lead to biodiversity loss. Alright. Next one. Okay. The second reason or second cause would be overexploitation. Humans by nature are greedy. Okay. When need turns into greed, then of course there will be overexploitation occurring. And when you overexploit a species for your own benefit, of course the species eventually would be facing the risk of extinction. So see, biological systems should not be exploited beyond the degree of renewability. Of course, we are also having to be in nature and we are also having to gain our resources from it, right? But then we cannot be over exploiting the biological systems beyond the degree of their renewability. Only then the organisms would face the risk of extinction. Dodo, Steeler's sea cow and passenger pigeon has become extinct due to the overexploitation by human. Alright? Third reason is alien species invasion. All of you know, alien species or exotic species means a species that is not native to our country, which has been brought from somewhere outside. And due to that, its natural competitor would not be present in the area where it has been introduced. Due to the lack of the competitor, of course, you know very well what will happen is competition release. The organism now, in the absence of the competitor, will be rapidly growing, and that would not be good, or that would not be very favorable for the native species, the species which are already present and who also have the competitor present in the environment. For them, their growth rate would be detrimentally affected. Alright, so see here, new species entering a geographical region are called exotic or alien species. For example, Nile perch, a predator fish introduced in Lake Victoria of East Africa, eliminated 200 species of cichlid fish. Likewise, Parthenium, you know very well about it. Parthenium came to India as a weed with imported weed variety and exterminated many herbs and shrubs. So today it has become a serious weed. Alright. Next, Lantana is a straggling shrub of tropical America which became a serious weed in India. Likewise, Econia, which you already know is terror of Bengal, isn't it? Water hyacinth, is also a serious aquatic weed which was introduced in India by Europeans, which eventually led to terror of Bengal, isn't it? It will lead to diminished amount of dissolved oxygen in the water, due to which all the aquatic fish or organisms would die, leading to a condition that is, you can say, scarcity of fish in the area like Bengal, where the staple food itself is fish and rice. Next, African catfish, Clarius glariopinus, is a threat to indigenous catfish in our rivers. So these are very important examples which all of you must learn. Fourth reason is coextinction. We have learned in the sexual reproduction in flowering plant chapter so many different types of mutual associations. Likewise in organism population chapter also you have learned about it. That there are various mutual associations in which one of the partner is going to be completely dependent on the presence of the other for completing its life cycle. In such obligate associations, if one of the partner becomes extinct, of course the other one will also become extinct, as it would not be able to complete its life cycle without the presence of the other. Right? Like in most of plant pollinator associations like yucca plant and Pranuva moth, right? Or fig and fig wasp. You know that if one of the partner would be missing, the other would also become extinct, right? So see here, in mutual associations, if one species become extinct, the other two becomes extinct. For example, plant pollinator mutualisms, examples are important. All of you do remember them, all right? Lastly, our susceptibility to extinction. So this four being the evil quadrants, okay, the four evil reasons why the biodiversity loss would be occurring continuously. All right. So now we have a list of features which makes a species more susceptible to extinction. All right. So these features are, first, large body size, like in rhinoceros and lion. Large body size would of course make a particular organism much more vulnerable to identification, or much more in requirement of large territorial area. All of that reasons would lead or would make it much weaker and much more at risk of extinction. Small population size and low reproductive rate. In that case, of course, the organism won't be able to renew itself and would be, sooner or later facing the risk of extinction if in case we're overexploiting it. For example, giant panda and blue whale. Third reason is high trophic level. In case the organism is occupying a high trophic level, then also it is going to be facing risk of extinction, like tiger, bald eagle. And fourth reason is fixed habitat and migratory routes. For example, whooping crane and blue whale. So these are the four reasons that can make a species more susceptible to extinction. I hope all of the important discussion that we have done today is clear to you. In the next class, we'll start with biodiversity conservation. Thank you.